Hello and welcome to the Three Barrel Cove at sunset for what is the level 26 episode of the Crusades of the Purple Knight. I can't seem to decide if it's called Crusades or Chronicles because I seem to slip between both, so I just have to live with it. There you go, there's the... actually, I can't quite decide if it's sunset or sunrise. It could be sunrise. There was a sort of an orange glow over there and it's disappearing, so maybe it's sunrise. Looking out across the bay there, sitting next to the remains of a broken ballista by the looks of it. Okay, so what do we have to share this time around? Well, first off, we have a minor accomplishment on the weapon now. One of you told me, is it Z? Control and Z? How do I... Oh, come on. Z? Oh, there we go. Got to click on it and then press Z. Okay. So, yeah, we have another slot now on the sentience. So, being as we quite like our spellcasting DCs, I've gone with Long Shadow Intelligence. If I had the slots open, I would have definitely gone with a 3-piece Long Shadow for some more melee power, and is it two more imbue dice? That would have been lovely for this. But we're doing okay anyway. We're not doing so bad. I'm not complaining. Oh, you can see underneath the what we would have got. Yeah. So I would have put, the next piece would have been some melee power. So we would have had 8 extra melee power with the little bonus there, 5 plus 3 from the standard melee filigree. And then the third piece, I think, might have been attack and damage for Long Shadow, and then 2 imbue dice come with it. So that would have been great, but unfortunately we'll not get there this life, I'm pretty sure of that. That said, this zoom weapon has been awesome for us, just awesome. The flavour side as well as the results. So no complaints at all there, and thank you very much to the fellow who recommended we go for that. I was wondering if any of you had seen the recent D&D film. Well, recent for me. The what's it called now? Honor Among Thieves, is it called? I think it's been out a few months. I'd seen the first half and fell asleep, not because it was rubbish, more because I was absolutely knackered and it was late at night. So I took the opportunity to see the whole thing yesterday, and I thought it was pretty decent, a good watch. The end was quite nice for several reasons. The sort of bungling sorcerer finally comes good and gets a second chance with the tiefling druid. I had to laugh at the druid, the owl bear rumbling all over the place, because that reminded me very much of the Annie bear in our bear party, sort of YOLO rushing into all the opponents. What else was there that stood out at the end? Oh yeah, the choice he had to make, the bard, between bringing back his beloved wife and mother of his child, and the fighter girl who had actually played the role of the mother, and the child sort of saw as the mother figure, and that's what he did in the end. So he kind of came good too. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that. Back to the business at hand. Some good things with the build and some slightly problematic. So we are pretty poor versus bosses in general. I would expect that, to be honest. It's an AoE build built around strike through and, you know, multi-target damage. Same for the spells, although we do have these two very nice single target damage spells, and they've been doing nicely for us, you know, to try and plug the gap with the single target damage. I suppose had we gone Fury instead of Fate Singer with that single target adrenaline thing, that would have been one way to deal with that. But the meat of the thing is the quests themselves, and we're doing well with that. These 2 epic strikes from Fate Singer, no complaints at all there. I'm getting used to using those when they're off cooldown. Getting used as well to swapping the imbues around. I mean, I can't say how nice that is. For example, at the end of the quests, by the way, is easy. It was just Gianthold, the whole of Gianthold minus the Crucible, which I just cannot get into, and then the two-toed tobias. Just make a note of that so I can write it in the description. And yes, we got to the end of the Gianthold tour. This is one example among a few. And I realised he was, well, obviously Ignos, it's a fire giant, isn't it? Swapped to the cold imbue from the fire that we were on, and suddenly we're getting these purple numbers and his health is really chunking down, so that was great. In the Prison of the Plains, where you get those special quest rooms, and each one is kind of themed to one thing, isn't it? There's a fire room, a cold room, and this and that. So swapping the imbues around there as well gave me some good mileage. And against the Ignos in the tour, I was interspersing the hits with the weapon with the iceberg, and it just felt good to be able to be flexible enough to be able to cater for most situations. So that was nice. We're not sort of pigeonholed into one thing, although the ones that are pigeonholed in tend to have like the alchemist or the sorcerer, ways to make opponents vulnerable, or indeed the Blightcaster in our last life with the souped up poison spell that made opponents vulnerable to that. So that then worked very nicely with the primal spell-like abilities. So yeah, we've been doing well, finding ways round opponents' resistances and that kind of thing. Indeed, we swapped the imbue around until we found that the acid was the best one by the looks of it to take on the boss in the last video, the level 25 one. At the end of the end of the road. That's gonna sound pretty rubbish, isn't it? I was trying all the imbues, and the acid one seemed to be the one he wasn't resisting, so that was good. Greater Shout, I keep finding more uses for that. The Minotaurs in several of the Gianthold quests are immune to the holds, the mass hold, so the Greater Shout is good there. Do any of you know if there's a way to remove the symbol of pain that they sometimes put on you in Gianthold? That's quite a significant debuff for a melee, and I try as I might, I couldn't find a way to get rid of that. So if any of you has any infos or suggestions, I'd be happy to hear them. Something else that's tripped us up as we've been going along, we have no adamantine damage breaking, or DR breaking, or whatever you call it, which is really annoying when you get to things like the boss at the end of the Jungle of Khyber, or any kind of golem, that kind of thing. Generally speaking, on my, let's call them physical damage builds, because it's usually been on the range build, I have a ranged character at the cap. I do have the, either with an augment, is it called the deconstructor or something like that, that gives you adamantine breaking, or with the feet, I make sure I have that. But the lack of that here, when there's a pile of yellow numbers going up the screen and the thing's immune to critical hits, that's another thing. We're very strong in the critical hit department. We crit very often with this zoom. Where are we? 15 to 20 times 4, so that's in a really decent place. But if we start getting things that are immune or heavily resistant to crits, then that's another potential problem. So when they have this adamantine damage reduction plus crit immune, we start looking into the realms of the 5 or 10 minutes to kill a boss. Of course I'm exaggerating, but it is still pretty painful. I think many of you would carry around swap weapons, wouldn't you, for this purpose, to try, especially when you're playing at the cap, just so you don't get caught out like this. If memory serves, I think some of those dinosaur crafted things can do that job quite well. But I'm not well enough versed in all that to comment any further. What else have we got here to mention? Oh yeah, I was talking about the Tor, the Finger of Death, which is not a particularly high DC. I mean, the Gianthold is fairly soft content anyway, I guess, relative to a lot of this stuff in Epics. It's older content, but you can see there 53 fortitude save, so we're in the mid 50s there in Reaper, and that was enough to all those big giants. A lot of them were just getting absolutely totaled by that. Very, very few were saving, so that was great, because it's all, apart from the initial rush, which did cause me a few problems when a red crown would pop up in the middle of all that, but apart from that, the portal area at the start, when they're coming at you in ones and twos, between the Finger of Death and these two big hitting single target things, it was happy days, that, in the Tor. So no complaints at all there. I have a feeling this next quest is going to test us quite a bit more. There's going to be quite a lot of opponents, and it's going to place quite some emphasis on our crowd control and AoE damage to try and hold things together. This is the Garl's Tomb one. We're just sitting up above it at the moment. On the subject of this area in Epic, I'm well aware through multiple failed attempts that the Scoundrels Run and what's the other thing? It's not Scoundrels Run, I don't mean that, do I? I mean Prove Your Worth and the thing with all the Warforged up there, Ghost of a Chance, have some absolutely fiendish traps, don't they? Like, I've been in there with reflex save way higher than what we have now, and just got absolutely, well, one shot by some of these traps. So I was wondering if any of you ran that, you know, as part of your Epic TR, or if you just left it to one side, because it seems way out of scale in terms of damage and trap difficulty with stuff, you know, comparable at this level. Just to show you where we're at with the save. So it's not amazing by any means, the reflex. I do have insightful reflex. You can see there, intelligence mod. When we go into Reaper, it's in the low 50s, I think. So far from amazing. I mean, as discussed in some of the comments, if we did decide to go with evasion from the Shadow Dancer, we could have 6 reflex saves from there, from the Draconic, and a further 9, I think, from if we really went crazy in the Shadow Dancer tree. Plus, what's going on in the Reaper thing? Yeah, you see, I haven't taken any in the Grim Barricade. I've really pushed the spell pen, intelligence, anything relating to spell DCs basically in the how do you pronounce that? Thaumaturge tree. And so I've missed out on what would normally be standard for me. If I had more Reaper points, I'm sure I would have beefed up these. So we're missing a potential 9 reflex save in there on the Reaper tree as well. So we could be somewhere in the low 70s or even mid to high 70s if we really went to town on it. I have a feeling I'm gonna forego that and just deal with not having evasion this time around. But I totally get those of you who are saying why not multi-class, you know, put a couple of levels of rogue, get the evasion. I've kind of tended to stay pure. Firstly, because I'm, as mentioned in the comments, I'm not that well versed, or not well versed enough with a lot of the classes to give me, you know, the knowledge to make a good multi-class build in most cases. I'd probably end up diminishing the build instead of improving it with that. And secondly, my aim with this series, I suppose, is to kind of showcase to the most I can, which means, you know, going tier 5 and capstone where possible, the tree or the class that I'm actually going into. So and it's helping me learn, you know, what there is. So I'm obviously aware now what's going on in this capstone and what we would lose if we decided to go with the multi-class, and what we could gain, because I guess every decision like that is a trade-off, isn't it? What you potentially stand to lose against what you would gain from so doing. So in this case, 2 imbue dice. There's with the intelligence, that's a DC gone, isn't it? A bit of health against evasion, more imbue dice, that kind of thing. A little bit like the decisions we've been facing, I suppose, all along of this, all the way through this life, through not specialising completely one way or another. We've faced engaging decisions, gear-wise, enhancements-wise, all the way through the thing. Had to kind of strike a balance the way I wanted to do it to make a workable enchant DC. We've ended up with I guess that in Reaper that's going to be into the mid 60s, which in mid epic is not amazing but not terrible either. It was working very nicely in Gianthold, and it's going to get seriously tested now in this next quest we're going to run. So let's see how we get on. Let me just show you before we go. No change in Reaper, no change in the gear whatsoever. No feet at 26, but the destinies have been changed a bit, so we've got access to the 3rd cause now and the 4th tier of the Fate Singer. So I took a couple of these rain just to get me into the tier 4, because there was nothing particularly else that I was looking at. MRR, I think we're already capped or close to it. Yeah, 60 is our cap, I think, so I wouldn't have got much, if anything, out of that. Actually, I've made a bit of a balls up there, haven't I? I should have taken Grander for 6 PRR. Are we still able to? No, this is classed as a wilderness area, isn't it? Let's just rectify that while we have the chance. We can teleport back here anyway, can't we? Yeah, I like that Grander, 6 PRR, all the time on, because it's going with the Death Aura, so it's a good one for us to have. So let's just correct that, because I'm really not... one of you explained in the comments, this rain it's more for somebody who's attacking way more often and faster than I'm doing, like maybe a single weapon fighting. So the lightning thing is going off more often because you're rolling a 20 more often. I mean, half the time I'm not even attacking with the weapon, so I think it's a bit wasted on this particular build. So, sword, some spell power. That's the grander, isn't it? Yeah. So this, oh no, wrong one. This tree really, given the way I've set out with this, I think it's the best one for us to be in. There's some decent melee attack there. There's some temporary hit points and extra damage in the mantle. Some spell power. Enchantment DC, which is the mass hold, also help for spell pen here. You can see more spell pen here, as well as a bit of intelligence, more spell power. So it just synergizes very well with the way I've tried to put this character together. Why am I missing 1 point there? What's going on here? Or did we maybe have one extra that I hadn't spent or something? What's happened there? Was there one? No, I don't think so. Maybe we just earned one and I haven't been aware of it. So I'm building back up in the Dreadnought tree. Oh, I've also got the third core that I really wanted in Dreadnought for another 15 PRR, which, as you can see here, we were desperately needing. Now the first 100 is much more influential, isn't it, than anything that comes after. So to have gone from 40 odd to 60 there on the PRR is quite nice. Right, let's get ourselves back to the quest entrance. See what mischief we can create. So another thing with this one, because of our low spot, we're not going to see a lot of the things before they're on top of us. So the mass hold should do quite nicely there, because we only need to see one to hold, you know, even if we can't see others around it. So let's have a look here. We're on the 67 at the moment for the mass hold. It's not terrible, not terrible. I guess we'll find out how good or not it is. I need to remember to keep triggering the boosts.
A single blood-tide pirate peers into the gloom. He seems to be waiting for someone. A Yuan T blocks the passage. It looks as if new tenants have made Grey Garl's tomb their home.
For some reason. It's more like it.
I know you're chewing your biscuit. That really hurts.
Oh look, we're already halfway down the hill, so the hold does work. I need to keep away from that red crown thing. It's always a bit on a knife edge because our defences are so bad. Oh, there's an elixir of nice. I just love the finger of death. Oh no, not again. I've got so many of these XP stones because we've taken so long to do the leveling. Oh, let's get the commendations all into the bag. Can we do that? Right, okay. So don't forget the boosts, don't forget the holds.
Nice one.
Must keep doing the Eldritch Strike because that's boosting my hold chance as well. Looking at this, you can probably... Oh, did they all save or did I just cut the spell up there? You can probably see, like, the conclusion I'm coming to. Whoa! Oh, it's a damage over time thing. The conclusion I'm coming to is we could manage with just swinging the blade and just using the oh crud. The deflection thing came in really handy there, didn't it? You'll see all the time because they have a lot of ranged characters. Have that, Mr. Reaper. Yeah, you see there, with half the things we held we couldn't even see. But yeah, the missile deflection for the 5th core in the Eldritch tree is awesome. We're making constant use of the 2 Fate Singer epic strikes. Well, you can probably hear that because the music keeps happening. I can't remember how this goes in. Oh god, there's loads of them. I think, was there a Reaper in there as well? Oh crud, where's that come from? Has that just come through the... Oh, here he comes. Big thanks to the one of you who mentioned to use the oh crud, to use the greater shout when mass hold is on cooldown. That's a godsend. You can see there what the biggest problem with the build is, the squishy nature. Very quickly we can go from situation just fine to situation all buggered up. I've loved the Finger of Death in this life, loved the single target damages. There's nothing nicer than just one-shotting, one-click deleting things. Oh, hurting. It's those red crowns, whenever they appear, we start taking some really bruising damage. Aura's run out. Yeah, tough old room this one with the masses of opponent. God, what's going on here? I think there's a small bug there. Okay, I'll leave you to it, pal. Guessing you have a load around you as well.
Amazing.
Oh, shaman over there. Come on, kill him. Thank you. Oh, these stacking light damages. Now that's because I'm undead, isn't it? Could I cheat at that point and take the undead shroud off, just so I'm not getting absolutely mullered by it? I wonder. Oh, there's going to be a shed load of them here, aren't there? Come on, mate. Seem to have, for some reason, I seem to have leaned a lot more heavily on the melee side than in recent quests. That said, he's going full gas on the casting now. It's really nice to have ranged options in situations like this where you can't easily get to the opponents. Really nice. And the deflection thing as well is just super nice. Oh, hello. The lack of spot is less nice. Have I already done that one? No, I don't think I have. Okay, we'll just leave you down there, pal. Have we got some more bugs there? I guess it's when I can't see them and they get held, and we just get these little buggy occurrences. Oh, you're awake now, are you? Okay. You all group together so we can have a nice hole. Spell points, we're going a bit short, but there is a shrine down there. A nice example of holding all sorts of stuff that we weren't able to see. Shall we go with the shrine or not? I can always come back to it, I suppose. We're almost there. Now I don't really want to be going flying down there and be subject to all these things, do I? How many things are there? Oh, I'm thinking of the heroic one where there's things on the sides. I don't think we have that here, do we?
Leave it and your ridiculous obsession with treasure. No matter. We'll recover what you have stolen from your partner.
The cleric gives a nod, and you want two warriors spring from the water.
Try and clean up the opponents. Although, do they constantly respawn these things that are coming? I think they may do. And the ranged ones are going to have trouble hitting us, aren't they? try and get some damage over time on the boss. That's our negative and acid damage. I don't want, speaking of damage over time, this damn light damage stacking up on us. I absolutely... Oh, there's a crown! There's a crown! Oh, we're in trouble yet. Is it her who's casting the light damage? Right, okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to go back and use that shrine, because I'm damned if I'm coming this far to fail at the end through lack of mana.
Nothing like a well-deserved rest.
Okay. Now hopefully oh no, she wasn't the last boss. There's some kind of a ghosty thing in there, isn't there? I think it's when oh, I'm silly, I could have used the ring, couldn't I? Saved us all that messing about. Don't forget the big buffs. I think I might have run out of
you unlock the underwater door with the key
the best
from
boost,
the
so maybe it wasn't a bad idea to use the shrine.
The treasure is almost within your grasp. Resonate from the shaft above.
I was trying to hold the Reaper and healed something at the back there. Major targeting fail. That's our crush weakness helping us there, because when the things are held, we get more damage. I was about to do my usual trick of
inside the chest, you find a piece of
picking up the souls when the quest is finished.
Along with some
I'm glad we got through there, because we had one or two dodgy moments. The healing, as you can see, struggles when we start having the spiky damage, which is the single biggest reason why I haven't tried to go up higher. That, and I'm not sure our spell DCs would fare too well, because as most of you I'm sure know, when you go higher up the Reaper difficulties, each skull you go, the opponents have higher saves, so there's that to consider too. I didn't think we did too bad there. The Finger of Death was still working, the holds were still working nicely, our AoE spells were helping too, and particularly in that area with the you know, the jumpy section with the two levers, our ranged spells, the two big single target ones and the Finger of Death proved very useful, because I think we might have taken a while to knock things down with my good old returning dart. For those of you who saw, was it episode 2, where we had a real saving best till last, where I suddenly remembered I had that dart and shot the boss who was trying to flee from us. That was in the Temple of Chaos, I think, in the Borderlands, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, all going well so far. I'm not going to try the two trappy quests in here because I know what's going to happen. So I think next on the agenda for us is going to be the Wayloon chain. Now that's going to be pretty tough because we are level 26 and that is 26 content, so it's going to be 28 at Reaper level. So I'm prepared for some tough questing there. I might at some stage try to do one or two of the Evening Star challenges just to glean a bit more experience and for a bit of something different if I feel like we're falling a bit behind the curve in terms of difficulty. But yeah, other than that, it's going to be Wayloon, Stormhorns, and what's the other level 27 thing? Oh, the Delirious Tomb. Now that one I don't particularly look forward to because a lot of the stuff there is going to be completely impervious to both of the holds that we have. So, in fact, probably all the stuff. That said, fire should work very nicely against most of it, so there is that. Okay, I think I've waffled on for long enough. For those of you who followed the back saga, my back is a lot better today. We had a nice walk earlier with the dog, so that was nice, rather than crabbing across the fields in semi-agony. So happy days. Thank you very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you in the next one. Take care.